In the 5 years of my marriage to Michael Moore, I got pregnant 6 times. Each time, during the prenatal checkup when the fetus was 5 months old, the doctor would tell me that the fetus was deformed and I was forced to have an abortion. Afraid that I would be heartbroken, Michael spent a huge sum of money to buy an island for me to have fun and relax. I was deeply touched and didn't want him to have any regrets. So I decided to travel around the world to do in vitro fertilization. Finally, in the 3rd year, I got pregnant with Michael's 7th child. This time, I took extra care of my body, fearing the slightest accident. Perhaps God took pity on me, and the fetus in my womb survived the 6th month. I was so overjoyed that I burst into tears. I went to Michael's hospital, intending to tell him the good news. However, I accidentally overheard the conversation between Michael, his childhood sweetheart, and his 3 brothers. Brother Michael, for my happiness, you personally aborted Sandra's 6 children. This time she's pregnant again. Won't you feel reluctant? Michael's voice was filled with a trace of doting. He stroked the head of his childhood sweetheart and said, "The children aren't mine. Why should I be sad? Even if they were, as long as Renata is happy. It doesn't matter if I abort 6 children or even make her unable to get pregnant for life." Michael, what if Sandra finds out about what you've done? Won't she be angry? After all, this is a bit too cruel. Michael sneered. So what if she's angry? She's been fawning over me for so many years. Even if she's angry, she'll still come running to me like a dog when I beckon. There was laughter in the room. I leaned against the wall and covered my mouth to prevent making any sound. To make his childhood sweetheart happy, he personally cut open my belly and aborted the babies I had carefully cared for. Since that's the case, I don't want the love of these 5 years anymore. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. Subscribe us to read wonderful novels every day. Now the story begins. I have to say, Sandra is also a tough person. An ordinary person would have given up long ago. She went crazy and traveled all over the world to do in vitro fertilization just to have your child. She really loves Michael to the core. The most important thing is that she doesn't even know that these children belong to other men. It's really hilarious. The people in the room were laughing and talking about me as if they had encountered the funniest joke in the world. Brother Michael, do you know which man's child this is this time? Renata's voice was excited. Through the narrow crack of the door, I saw her holding his hand and shaking it coquettishly. Oh, I know this. Michael specifically went to the poverty-stricken area and found an old man in his 50s. He gave the old man a sum of money to let him donate his precious. Ha 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 ha. Poor Sandra still thinks that the child in her belly is Michael's. Little does she know that it's an old man's. At this moment, I couldn't stop trembling all over. I have been married to Michael for 5 years, and during these 5 years, he has always treated me with respect. He has a cold personality and doesn't know how to say sweet words. He rarely touched me over the years. Only when he was drunk would he be a bit more affectionate towards me. When I was pregnant for the first time, I couldn't wait to show him the pregnancy test strip. He was just taken aback. But soon he hid his emotions. That day, he set off fireworks all over the city for me, saying that it was to welcome the arrival of the child. I took great care of our first child. I eagerly awaited each prenatal checkup. But in the 5th month, I was told that the chromosome was abnormal and the child was a deformed fetus, and I was advised to have an abortion. At that moment, I couldn't describe how sad I was. It was Michael who held me in his arms to comfort me and stayed by my side day and night. He is the heir of the Moore family in City A and also an all-around doctor. To inherit the Moore family, he chose to give up his career as a doctor. But when I had a miscarriage, he was worried about me and was afraid to perform the surgery on me himself. Every subsequent pregnancy was told to be deformed in the 5th month. Every time I endured the pain of having an abortion. And every time he had to experience the pain of killing his own child with his own hands. I felt sorry for him and also for my children. But now it turns out that all of this is a conspiracy. Oh, an old man in his 50s. So disgusting. Michael, if Sandra finds out about this, will she be angry with you? Michael's voice was cold and without a trace of warmth. And his tone was full of mockery. Angry. She's been fawning over me for so many years. What can she do even if she's angry? As long as I beckon, won't she still come running to me like a dog? Then, little Princess Renata, since our Michael has said so, how do you want to play this time? I'm going to play something more exciting. Sandra is already 6 months pregnant. Right. This time, I want her to give birth and watch her own child die in front of her. How about it? Is it exciting? I held back the urge to rush in and stood there waiting for Michael's answer. As I expected, he readily agreed to Renata's request without hesitation. As long as Renata is happy. I didn't burst in to ask him why he treated me like this. Why he married me even though he didn't love me. Why he made me get pregnant and then abort the child again and again when he didn't want children. The bits and pieces of the past 5 years flashed before my eyes. Michael's acting skills are really excellent. I, who graduated from an acting class, feel ashamed in comparison. When I got home, I walked into the bedroom, looking at the small clothes on the bed and the baby crib. My heart suddenly tightened. After learning that the baby in my belly had passed the safe period, I was overjoyed and went online to buy baby supplies. I counted the days every day, looking forward to his arrival. But now it turns out to be a dream, a terrifying nightmare. At 6 months pregnant, I could already feel the baby moving in my belly. Perhaps the baby knew I was in a bad mood and was trying to comfort me. This made me even sadder. I sat on the bed, curled up, and cried loudly until I almost fainted. Then the notification sound of my phone rang. My best friend sent me a message. Sandra, aren't you going for a prenatal checkup today? I'm off today. I'll accompany you. Seeing my best friend's message, a warm feeling welled up in my heart. Over the years, no matter how many times I had a prenatal checkup during pregnancy, my best friend had never been absent. She once said, "In the future, I'll be this little guy's godmother. When he grows up, he has to be filial to me, so I can't miss every important moment, or he'll be unfamiliar with me." Although it was a joke, she actually did it. In the past 5 years, she has never missed any of my prenatal checkups. When she learned that my child had passed the dangerous period, she hugged me and cried excitedly. "Okay, let's go together." After replying to my best friend's message, I got up and clumsily put on my coat and shoes. Just as I reached the door, Michael came back. He stood in the entrance hall and looked at me in surprise. "Sandra, where are you going?" The moment I saw him, the words he said today flashed through my mind, suppressing the anger in my heart. I forced a smile. "Today is the prenatal checkup time for our baby." "Michael, have you forgotten?" He was taken aback, and then he smiled and reached out to touch my belly. This action made me panic, and I instinctively took a step back. Shinyen was stunned. "Sorry, Sandra. I was too busy with work and forgot." "Don't be angry. I'll accompany you now." I smiled but didn't speak. His work was to discuss my jokes with others, and his work was just to accompany Renata. "No need. Molly said she'll accompany me. You can have a good rest. Then I'll drive you there." He squatted down to tie my shoelaces, looking very patient. No one could imagine that this man would kill his wife's children with his own hands for another woman. When Michael stood up, he looked at me tenderly. I stared at him without blinking, hoping to see his flaw. But unfortunately, he was really good at pretending. He pretended so well that I was deceived for a full 5 years. "It's okay. I just want to see you and find out how long you can love me." He smiled and stroked my head. "What's wrong? Are you anxious again?" "Don't worry. The child will be safe, and I will always love you." I didn't say anything, just smiled. As long as Renata wants to use me for her entertainment, he will keep pretending to love me for her. For Renata, he can choose to keep acting without getting tired of it. "Sandra, what did you say? You want to abort this child? Do you know how hard it was for him to come into your life? Have you forgotten the hardships you've endured in these 3 years?" My best friend looked at me in disbelief. I sat on the chair in silence, holding the test report. I don't even know who the father of the child is. His existence is like a stain, making me live in a dream all day long. Rather than having him with me as his mother, it's better for him to be reborn into a good family, have a complete family, and feel the warmth of being loved. "Sandra, is there something wrong? I know you better than anyone. You can endure so much pain for this child. You definitely won't want to abort this child for no reason." Look, even my best friend knows how much I've endured in these years. But Michael doesn't care at all. I looked at my best friend and told her everything that happened that day. Her eyes instantly turned red. "Damn it. This bastard. I'm going to kill him and that bitch Renata." I grabbed my best friend who was going to settle accounts with Michael and shook my head at her. "Molly, I don't want to entangle with them anymore. I want to go home. My best friend hugged me tightly and kept comforting me. Okay, we'll go home. I'll take you home. Since the baby was quite old in months, the surgery was scheduled for 3 days later. When I got home, I packed my things and asked my best friend to draw up a divorce agreement for me. In 3 days, I will leave here, and the divorce agreement will also be handed to Michael. Sandra, I'm a bit busy at the company today and will be back later. Also, the day after tomorrow is Renata's birthday. It's rare for her to stay in City A for a while. You haven't been to any of the previous parties. This time, just fulfill her wish. Looking at Michael's message, I suddenly laughed. What a ridiculous excuse. I didn't reply to his message. I put down my phone and lay on the bed. My 6-month pregnant belly made me feel uncomfortable, and I couldn't fall asleep. The memories of the past few years flashed before my eyes like a movie. Renata is Michael's childhood sweetheart. She was our junior high and high school classmate. At that time, Renata was the school beauty of the whole school. She didn't look as cute as other girls. Instead, she was very flamboyant, and her personality was like that of a boy. So with such a personality, she quickly won the favor of many boys, including Shinyen. I married Michael just because his parents and my parents had been on good terms since childhood, and they arranged a betrothal for us when we were young. At that time, Michael didn't say anything when he learned about it. He didn't refuse. He tried to start dating me. When we were dating, everyone saw his actions. They saw his care for me, saw that he would send me breakfast every day. They saw that he would skip class to buy brown sugar water for me when I had my period. Even I thought he really liked me. Until the day we got married. Renata blocked him. She hugged him and cried, asking him why he was marrying me. At that time, Michael's eyes were full of heartache. He said, with my current status, the second branch of Michael's family will definitely be jealous. They will catch the people closest to me to threaten me. Renata, you can't be with me. I'll come to you when I've sorted everything out. Later, he sent Renata abroad, and I was kidnapped by the calculations of the second branch of Michael's family. They tied me to a cross and sent me into the sea. Just when I was on the verge of death, Michael saved me. He dealt with everyone in the second branch. That day, he hugged me and cried like a child, saying that he was afraid of losing me. I knew he liked Renata, but in these 5 years, I thought he had given up and chose to love me well. But now it seems to be just a joke. That night, Michael came back very late. He lay on the bed and held me in his arms. A pungent smell of perfume filled my nostrils. I knew this was the perfume Renata often used. I held back the urge to vomit and moved a bit. Seeing me dodge, he was a bit dissatisfied. What's wrong? I shook my head. I'm not feeling well. Michael, I want to sleep. He nodded and didn't say anything. But before going to bed, he said, will you come with me to Renata's birthday party tomorrow? Just consider it as granting her a wish. Renata's birthday party was very grand. Her identity is the little princess of the Gu family in City H, and everyone fawned over her. Seeing me arrive, she was full of pride. In a place where no one was around, she bumped me with her shoulder and said, Sandra, you're really as tenacious as a cockroach. You still didn't give up after so many abortions. What's your uterus made of? It's so resistant. I heard that you're 6 months pregnant. I really don't know if this little bastard can be born alive. Sandra, how about we make a bet? Let's see if he can be born smoothly. I looked at her expressionlessly and suddenly laughed. At this moment, I suddenly felt that she was like a clown. Miss Renata, are you doing this because you're jealous that you can't get pregnant in your life? You like Michael, but he is the only heir of the Moore family. His parents won't allow a hen that can't lay eggs to enter the family. So you're jealous of me, right? Renata's face froze and she instantly became angry. What are you so proud of? You still don't know whose child is in your belly, do you? You think it's Michael's. In fact, this little bastard is just from an old man in his 50s in the slum area. Ha ha ha. She laughed loudly, grabbed my hand, and whispered in my ear, you know, if the people here know that the child you're carrying isn't the child of Michael's group but an old man's, will you, a big star, be on the top of the trending searches tomorrow? I frowned and shook off her hand, but she stumbled and fell to the ground following the force of my movement. Her scream attracted the attention of others. Renata cried loudly, Sandra, I just heard from others that the child in your belly is an old man's in his 50s. I kindly reminded you not to be influenced by those words. Why did you push me? Her voice attracted everyone. They all came over and looked at me with strange eyes. What? The child Sandra is carrying isn't Michael's. Damn. This is a huge piece of gossip. I looked at them expressionlessly as they made comments. Renata had a triumphant look on her face. But when she saw Michael approaching, she started crying. Brother Michael, I'm sorry. I just wanted to remind Sandra. And then she pushed me. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have said that. Please don't be angry. Okay. Michael's face darkened a bit. He watched as others criticized me and remained silent. After helping Renata, who had fallen to the ground, up, he walked over to me and said, "What are you doing? Don't you know you should be more careful in such an occasion?" Apologized to Renata right away. At this moment, my heart felt as if it had died. There was no pain at all. And all my expectations were completely gone. He didn't ask for the reason. Just because Renata shed a few tears, he questioned me and even ignored the fact that I was being mocked by others. I didn't push her. Michael, do you think I, being 6 months pregnant, could push her down? Well, you know Renata is always delicate. Do you think she bumped into you and fell? Or are you saying she fell on purpose to wrong you? At this moment, I suddenly laughed, and tears streamed down my face. Ignoring the comments of others, I stood in front of Michael and said, "Today you want me to apologize for her, right?" Michael's Adam's apple bobbed, and he turned his head away. "Yes, if you did something wrong, you should apologize. Sandra, it's just a simple sorry. It's not that difficult. Moreover, not possible." I interrupted Michael. "I will never apologize to her in my life." Ignoring the comments of others, I slowly dragged my clumsy body away. Before walking out of the door, I heard Renata's crying. I also heard Michael's intimidating voice. He said, "Sandra, if you dare to leave here today, we'll get a divorce." I smiled silently and left without a care. Michael, relying on the fact that I loved him, thought that I would give in if he said that. But he was wrong. No one will always wait for you in the same place. All enthusiasm will fade away in the process of waiting and being disappointed. Without exception, on that day, I went to the hospital and underwent an abortion operation. I felt the child gradually slipping away from my body. I had tasted that pain countless times. Early the next morning, I boarded a plane to City H and left. The 5-year relationship began with willingness and ended with admitting defeat. From today onwards, I will live my life well. And Michael, along with all the memories of the past, will all be in the past and disappear from my world. Michael was sitting in the back seat of the car, resting with his eyes closed. So many things had happened tonight that it gave him a headache. Renata had clung to him tightly today, and he had only been able to leave after he had coaxed her to sleep. Thinking of Sandra, who had left today, he frowned slightly. This woman had really made him lose face in front of so many people for the first time. She was truly evil. But thinking of so many people criticizing her, he felt the anger in his heart. President, the matter of the young mistress today has made it to the trending searches. Now the master and the madam know about it, and they want you to go back. On the phone, Michael listened to his assistant's narration and felt a slight headache. Got it. Wait. No matter how much it costs. Suppress the trending searches as soon as possible. Michael hung up the phone and rubbed his forehead vigorously. He had been with Sandra for 5 years, and Sandra had always been obedient to him. Even if he had done something excessive, Sandra wouldn't say anything. In his heart, Sandra was not as good as Renata. He had married Sandra only to protect Renata. A girl as obedient and easy to control as Sandra was the easiest to deceive. But today's Sandra made him feel a bit unfamiliar. Michael sighed and drove towards the old mansion. Since he and Sandra got married, he had rarely gone back. Today's incident had alarmed his parents, and he would definitely say a lot. Look at what you've done. As soon as Michael walked into the house, an ashtray was suddenly thrown at him. If he hadn't dodged quickly, there would have been a gash on his forehead by now. Father, what are you doing? It's just a trending search. Is there a need to be so excited? Michael's tone was a bit off as he slowly walked over and sat down on the sofa. Just a trending search. You know very well that Sandra is a public figure. Yet you let that woman Renata act recklessly. I told you before, I don't care what you do outside. But if you treat Sandra unfairly, don't blame me for being harsh on you. Over the years, Sandra gave up her career for you and wholeheartedly lived with you. In the past 5 years, she traveled all over the country just to have a child with you. What have you done? Look at what you've done. Is this what a decent person would do? How could I have given birth to such a bastard like you? Michael's father placed a pile of test reports in front of Michael. Clearly on them were the evidences of Sandra's abortions and the things he had done to Sandra. He was full of surprise. But before he could say anything, Michael's mother walked over and slapped him. Michael, how could you treat Sandra like this? How can I face my relatives now? What on earth did Sandra do to deserve such treatment from you? You heartless thing. Michael's mother kept slapping Michael, her eyes full of disappointment. Enough. Are you blind? Can't you tell whether she pushed Renata or not? The surveillance is right there. Can't you check it? That's right. You're so obsessed with that little bitch Renata that you believe her without reservation just because of a single word she said. How could you possibly check the surveillance? You said Sandra was delusional about marrying you and was trying to ruin your relationship with Renata. What do you think she is? Do you think someone as proud as Sandra would go to great lengths for you? It's true that you had a betrothal arrangement. But when she found out that you were with Renata, she asked me to cancel it. I didn't agree. Do you think she would stay faithful to you just because you sent Renata away? You think too highly of yourself. Michael's mother threw a pile of photos at Michael's face. On them were clearly pictures of Renata appearing with different men. She was dressed provocatively, and some of the photos were extremely indecent. She betrayed you a long time ago. She thought you couldn't take over everything of the Moore family and would lose to the second branch of the Moore family. So she was manipulating you while getting involved with other men at the same time. Do you think you could win against the second branch of the Moore family because of your own ability? It's because Sandra and my family supported you behind the scenes that you could achieve all this today. Every word Michael's mother said stabbed deeply into Michael's heart. After 5 years of marriage, 6 abortions, you made Sandra experience all the physical and mental pain. Michael, I feel ashamed to have given birth to a son like you. Michael's body trembled, and he turned to look at his angry mother. Mom, where is she? Her. You're asking about her now. Why didn't you worry when she left with a big belly? Now you're thinking about it. It's too late. Michael was taken aback. Mom, what? What do you mean? What's too late? Where did Sandra go? She's gone and won't come back. Michael's mother threw a divorce agreement on the ground and turned to leave. Before leaving, she supported Michael's father and said, Michael, I feel sorry for you. Michael stood there stunned, his mind filled with the words his mother had said. He didn't believe that Sandra would leave him like that. She must be angry and trying to scare him. This time, he wouldn't be angry with her. For the sake of his parents, he decided to forgive her. Yes, he would coax her. But when he was comforting himself, his whole body was shaking, and his heart was uneasy. He felt fear for the first time. After getting up and leaving, he quickly returned to his own home. It was pitch dark outside the door. In the past, no matter how late he came home, the house was always brightly lit, and Sandra would be lying on the sofa waiting for him to come back. When he drank, Sandra would cook him a hangover soup in advance. When he worked overtime, Sandra would make supper and wait for him to come back and eat it. No matter when he came home, there would always be a hot meal and a lit lamp. But now, it was just getting dark, and not a single light was on in the room. Michael staggered into the room. The moment he turned on the light, the room was as clean as ever. Sandra, I'm back, Michael said softly and cautiously. He was afraid of waking Sandra up if she was asleep. So he walked into the room slowly. The moment he opened the door, his eyes instantly welled up with tears. Sandra wasn't there. Not only that, but the baby clothes, the baby crib that Sandra had prepared were all gone. And even the wedding photo hanging on the wall was missing. The only things left were Sandra's clothes. The clothes that he had given to Sandra. All the things he had given to Sandra were left here. But none of Sandra's own things remained. Sandra, are you playing hide and seek with me? Stop fooling around. I know I was wrong today. I apologize to you. Please, come out quickly. I'm hungry. Michael's voice was choked with sobs as he spoke softly, hoping for a response. But the room was silent, and the girl who had always responded to him all the time was gone. Michael squatted down, clenched his fists, and pressed them against his forehead. If his mother hadn't said these things today, he might never have chosen to check for himself. In his heart, He had thought that Sandra had deliberately forced Renata away and was deliberately targeting her. But he had forgotten what Sandra was like when they first met. The girl with a ponytail would share the water in her cup with a scavenger when she saw that he had no water. She would also, even though she was afraid, unhesitatingly stand up and bravely protect others when classmates were being bullied. She would even cry as she picked up stray cats and dogs when they died, bury them, and give them little flowers. Such a gentle and kind girl. How could she do such a terrible thing? Thinking of this, he suddenly stood up. Sandra was still pregnant now, and she definitely wouldn't really be angry with him. At the beginning, they had lied to Renata and others, saying that the child in Sandra's belly was someone else's, just to make her happy. After all, he was a man with a cleanliness obsession. Although he didn't like Sandra, he wouldn't allow anyone to defile his woman. They still had a child, and Sandra wouldn't leave him even for the sake of the child. Yes, he had to go find her. After leaving the Moore family, I returned to City H. The day I got home, my mother didn't say anything when she saw me. She just came up and hugged me, her voice a bit choked. When my eldest brother saw this, his eyes also turned red. He came up and stroked my head. "You should have come back earlier. If my parents and I had known you were having a hard time in the Moore family, we would never have let you stay there. You silly girl. Why didn't you say anything?" I just smiled. After I married Michael, I hadn't been happy, but the Moore family and my family also had business cooperation. I thought that even if Michael didn't like me, he would surely be influenced by me through gradual contact. In the past 5 years, I had been hoping that he would look back at me. Later, when he showed concern for me, I naively thought that I had received a response. But now, thinking about it, it was just a sad and pitiful joke. After comforting my family, I called my best friend. My best friend told me that Michael didn't agree to the divorce. As a lawyer, my best friend naturally took my side. She officially sued Michael on my behalf. I just smiled. My best friend naturally knew much more about such things than I did, and I felt at ease leaving it to her. My best friend also said that the matter of me being on the trending searches was quickly suppressed, which was the work of the Moore family. Not only that, but they also clarified the rumors on my behalf. However, when Renata found out about this, she went crazy looking for Michael. I heard that in the end, she was driven out of the yard by the servants before she could even see Michael. And because of my physical condition, I was resting peacefully at home. During this period, my eldest brother also found many single people for me. He said that a woman shouldn't stick to one man. I just smiled. Now my body can no longer get pregnant. Moreover, experiencing a failed relationship has made me a bit afraid of marriage. I just want to be a lifelong bachelor now. In a month's time, my body gradually recovered. However, due to not having a good rest after the induced abortion, I developed some health problems. My mother found many traditional Chinese medicine doctors and Western medicine doctors to recuperate me, but they were all at a loss. Until the family's attending doctor came back. The moment I saw him, I was a bit surprised. He looked familiar, but I couldn't remember where I had seen him. After all, I hadn't come back since I married Michael, and he hadn't come here at that time. Don't eat spicy food. Don't eat cold food. Make sure to get 8 hours of sleep every day. You should run for an hour when you get up early. Leonard, dressed in a white coat, stared at me without blinking and said, "Sandra, are you listening to me?" During this period, I had a very good relationship with Leonard. I asked him when I saw him that day. Later, I learned that he was my junior high school classmate, and I was his savior. At that time, Leonard's family condition was not good. His mother was ill, and his father died in a car accident. He not only had to take care of his mother but also his younger sister. The money he earned from his part-time job during the holiday that day was originally for his mother's medical treatment, but it was snatched away by several hooligans. Moreover, he was beaten up by those hooligans, and his younger sister was so scared that she cried. It was me who stepped forward to stop them and scared them away. But Leonard was still injured, and the money in his hand was also taken away. "Don't be sad. I still have some pocket money here. You can take it first." He stared at me blankly, and I didn't hesitate to stuff the money into his hand. He was very fat at that time. Later, I would bring some more pocket money every day and give it to him when I met Leonard, but he wouldn't accept it. Thinking of how pitiful he was and that he had to take care of his little sister, my compassion overflowed. So I secretly stuffed the money into his sister's school bag. I never saw him again until I had to transfer schools in a hurry because of something at home. I'm forgetful about things in my childhood. Moreover, Leonard had changed so much in appearance that I didn't recognize him. But I didn't expect that for my sake. He chose to study medicine and chose to stay in my family to repay my life-saving grace. Leonard, I can't get up. Can I not go running? I coquettishly said. But he didn't fall for it at all. No way. If you can't get up, I'll wake you up. I'll run with you tomorrow morning. Leonard kept his word. The next day, he pulled me, who hadn't woken up yet, to go running early in the morning. When we came back, we bumped into someone I never wanted to see in my life. Michael. Michael stood there in the distance looking at me, without saying a word. Seeing this, I ignored him and continued walking with Leonard. But when I passed by him, he said in a hoarse voice, "Sandra, don't leave." I acted as if I didn't hear him. When I was about to keep walking, he grabbed my wrist. "Sandra, come back with me." "Okay, I know I was wrong. I'm sorry for you. We can have another child. We can make up for the past few years. I'll promise you whatever you want." "Okay." I smiled silently and looked at him without any emotion. "Mr. Michael, you can save those words for your Miss Renata." I broke free from his hand and didn't want to pay attention to him, but his eyes turned red, and he looked at me full of sadness. "Sandra, what they said is all false. I lied to them, from beginning to end. Those children were all mine. Don't think too much. I'm sorry, really sorry. It's my fault. I didn't consider your feelings. Don't abandon me. I will make up for you well. Really, please, don't leave me." His voice was choked with sobs. I looked at him. For so many years, this was truly the first time I had seen him cry. But so what? Even if these children were his, so what? I still wouldn't forgive him. He could kill his own children with his own hands. Just this one thing. I couldn't forgive him. "Michael, I won't forgive you no matter whose children they were. I had 7 abortions in 5 years. You will never understand that feeling. I was blind to choose you in the first place. I brought all this on myself. I don't blame anyone. You trampled on my love for you like mud. Again and again. It's been 5 years. Even if I had done the most heinous things, these 5 years of torture are enough to pay off the debt. Moreover, I have never been sorry to you. I'm sorry. Sandra, I'm sorry. It's my fault. I have already broken off the relationship with Renata. I know that the hurt you suffered can't be made up for in a short time, but I will spend my whole life making up for you. I beg you to give me a chance. Okay. Just one. Just one." Michael looked at me with a pleading face. At the end, he was sobbing uncontrollably. I felt nothing in my heart. I held back the tears in my eyes, not because of him, but because of the several children I had lost. "Michael, you still have the chance to have children, but I won't have any more. Since my last abortion, there won't be any more." Michael was taken aback. I stared at him and said word by word, "Between you and me, there will never be a future again, and I will never forgive you." After saying these words, I ignored him and left with Leonard. Michael didn't follow. He just stood there blankly looking at me. When we got home, Leonard was silent, his eyes full of sadness and heartache. I just smiled. "What's wrong? Why are you feeling sad?" "It's me who's miserable, not you. If you're not happy, do you want me to comfort you?" Suddenly, I was tightly hugged by Leonard, and his voice was a bit choked. "I'm sorry, Sandra. I came too late." I was caught off guard by his action, but he didn't seem to want to let go. "Sandra, do you still have the idea of finding a man? If so, can I apply for the position?" This sentence was really sudden, and I was shocked. After that day, I tried to date Leonard. My parents and my brother also fully approved when they knew about it. After all, Leonard had been here for 5 years, and they were very satisfied with his character. And Michael has been lingering near my house during this period. But I didn't care at all. It's just that there would be a bunch of lilies and all kinds of snacks outside my windowsill every day. When Leonard saw them, he didn't hesitate to throw them into the trash can in front of Michael. I just smiled and didn't say anything. Later, Leonard started showing his affection for me without restraint. Finally, Michael couldn't stand it anymore. He stepped forward to try to stop it, but my brother punched him to the ground. Not only that, But my brother also called the police and said that he was a voyeur. Michael was locked up for half a month, and the day he got out was the day I married Leonard. That day, Michael cried like a child. He broke in and grabbed my hand, begging me not to marry someone else. But in the end, he was mercilessly thrown out. Just like that, Leonard and I got married smoothly without being disturbed. We had a very good relationship after marriage. Leonard would take me on trips to relax, and Michael was like a tail following us. Leonard and I just treated him like air and ignored his existence. Until I got pregnant again. I cried. I thought I would never be able to get pregnant again in my life. Fortunately, with Leonard's careful care for a year, I got pregnant again. This time, feeling the baby moving in my belly, I had a smile on my face. The little guy in my belly seemed very lively, rolling around and making a fuss all the time. But I didn't have those uncomfortable reactions during pregnancy. Until 9 months later, I successfully gave birth to a son. That day, not only Leonard cried, but my parents and my brother also cried. Looking at the little baby, my eyes were sour. The child I had been looking forward to for so many years was finally born at this moment. The hardships and sufferings I had endured were beyond imagination. But soon he hid his emotions. That day, he set off fireworks all over the city for me, saying it was to welcome the arrival of this child. I haven't seen Michael during this period. Since I gave birth, Michael seemed to have disappeared off the face of the earth. Until 3 months later, I heard that the Moore family went bankrupt, and Renata had a car accident due to an accident. Although she didn't die, she was paralyzed from the waist down. She could only lie in bed for the rest of her life. And the 2 elders of the Moore family were said to have broken off the relationship with Michael. The 2 elders went to a nursing home to live their own lives. As for Michael, the last time I saw him was when my son was 3 years old. He took advantage of my inattention and walked up to my son who was playing in the yard. He hugged my son and kept crying. But soon he let go of the child and put a piece of paper and something in his pocket. When I saw him walking out, he quickly stood up and left without saying a word. I walked over and looked at my son beside me. I took out the note Michael left and the thing on the ground. It was a letter and all the shares and property of the Moore family. In the letter, he only said 3 words, "I'm sorry." As for the heir to the shares, it was the names of me and my son. When Leonard found out, he didn't say anything. He trusted me unconditionally. I also knew that he wasn't without hatred for Michael. He hated Michael even more than I did. But he didn't do anything. He once said, "The most ruthless way to punish a person is to let him live in pain." Over the years, Michael would appear around us from time to time, but he didn't care at all. He treated me well as always, sincerely treating me well from the bottom of his heart. As for the things left by Michael, I didn't return them because I couldn't find him either. And these shares had already taken effect and couldn't be changed. Half a year later, I learned that Michael was sentenced to death for the crime of intentional homicide. And the person he killed was Renata. I didn't go on the day he was executed. Some people are just missed. And missing them means missing them. All the things in the past are in the past. Looking back frequently will only make people feel cheap. Life is still beautiful. And we always have to move forward. And I will never look back again. The end.